A fair had come to the island of Sodor, and all the children were having a marvellous time enjoying the rides. The Fat Controller's engines were kept very busy, carrying people to and from the fair. One day, Daisy pulled into the station, where Henry was waiting with his train. She was collecting passengers to take to the fair. "I've heard the fair has a ghost train," said Daisy. "What is a ghost train?" "It's a tunnel where small trains run through," her driver explained, "past skeletons and ghosts and other spooky things." Daisy didn't like the sound of anything that was spooky, and she began to shiver. "Pah!" scoffed Henry. "I'm not scared. Only silly little engines are frightened of ghosts." But secretly he didn't want to meet one, just in case. That evening, Henry was resting in the sheds when his driver came back unexpectedly. "Come on, Henry, part of the tunnel roof has collapsed," he said. "The Fat Controller wants us to take some workmen to clear the rubble right away." "Bother," grumbled Henry. "I was looking forward to a rest." "Cheer up," his driver laughed. "Pushing trucks into a tunnel is not exactly hard work at all." Still grumbling, Henry set off. Soon they reached the blocked tunnel, and Henry puffed carefully inside. Everything was going well, and the workmen cleared away what rubble they could into the trucks. When they had finished, Henry began to pull them out. He was going nicely when suddenly there was a loud bonk. "Bust my buffers!" cried Henry. "What was that?" His driver got down to see what it was. "Your tender has come off the rails," he called back. "Some rubble must have fallen behind us. We can't go forwards nor backwards." The guard went back along the line to call for help. When he came back, it was not good news for Henry at all. "I'm afraid help isn't coming until the morning, Henry, so you'll have to stay here for the night." Henry was speechless. He watched as his driver, fireman, guard and the workmen walked home. It was very dark in the tunnel, and as the trucks went to sleep, it became very quiet, making Henry feel very alone. But soon he began to feel very tired, and he went straight to sleep. Suddenly he woke with a start. He was moving along the track inside the tunnel. The trucks and the brake van were gone. It was then he suddenly realised he had no driver. "What's happening?" cried Henry. No one replied, except for a chilling noise. Wailed a ghostly voice, and a white shape floated towards him. Henry was terrified. "Ah!" he cried. He was icy cold and his wheels were shaking, but he hurried on. Then Henry saw a station ahead. He felt better at once until he saw what was on the platform. The station had a skeleton staff and a very thin controller, and waiting to catch a train was a vampire. "Get me out of here!" wailed Henry. The tunnel seemed to go on for miles. Henry came to a sudden stop. He could hear a whistle in the distance. "That sounds like Gordon," he said to himself. "Oh, thank goodness." Henry saw a light approaching fast, but he had forgotten he was standing on the same track. Then from around the bend, a shadowy, ghostly Gordon rushed towards him with a scream and a roar. Henry could bear no more. He blew his whistle loud and long and shut his eyes tightly. "No more! No more!" he shouted, blowing out as much steam as he could. "No more!" Suddenly, Henry felt himself moving out of the tunnel. "Wake up, Henry," his driver called. "Your tender is back on the rails. We can go back to the sheds now." Henry was delighted. He hurried home as quickly as he could and had a long drink of water. He felt better after that. But he was careful not to tell the other engines about his dream of the ghost train, as he was sure they would laugh at him. But we wouldn't laugh from what we saw in the dream, would we?